What's up? It is Lip Service, and you know we start every episode with a woman on top, and this week is really special and near and dear to my heart. So first of all, let's get our little deli on. Ready? You see this? And I want to give this week's to Ingrid Bess.
Yay!
We all love Ingrid, but she just recently got promoted to Executive Vice President and Head of Global Marketing at Combs Enterprises Spirits. That is where we get this deli on from. That's where y'all get your Ciroc from. Another thing that she has made sure she has done is successfully hire Black marketing executives.
Yes.
So she's hired 7 Black marketing executives within her first few months of working. Yes. She's been doing everything when it comes to diversity, when it comes to sales, when it comes to marketing. She knows every single aspect of the business. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can do to be successful at what it is and no matter what business that you're in. So let's give this toast to Ingrid Bess.
Thank you, Ingrid.
She's the best.
Ingrid.
The Ingrid Best.
What's up? It's Lip Service. I'm Angela Yee.
I'm Stephanie Santiago.
I'm L'Oreal.
Hey. Leanne.
What's up? I'm Liane V. Like, is it me? My turn?
What's good?
Yes, and welcome to the show, you guys. Back together again.
Yes.
Yes,
back and better.
Man, listen, this is going to be so enlightening for people today because a lot of people go through breakups. And Liane V, I know you can share with us, just how to effectively break up with somebody, because sometimes we break up with people and it's not like a clean break and we end up going back and forth and it really drags out. And for you, for Don Benjamin, I know you have a lot of advice to us on how you actually had to work on yourself so that you guys could get back together. And while we've seen y'all on YouTube together, you guys have never actually sat down and done an interview together.
Yeah, this the first
God,
one.
This is our first interview together.
It's the first one.
Crazy.
Thank you.
Well, we're so excited to be here with you guys. I think that this is going to be a great conversation to share just because we've talked about it on YouTube, briefly, but we want to be able to continue to just reach out to our audience and let people know, like, we're real people. People experience, breakups, heartbreak, like all the things that we go through. It's normal, and we're here to talk about it and share our experiences.
So many questions. First off, before we even get into it, how did y'all even meet and start dating?
We met actually through mutual friends. We were also in different relationships and we just got connected through some work. I had just came off of America's Next Top Model. She was blowing up on Vine. And so so some friends connected us and we just started like working together. We started shooting videos and our whole circle of friends was just hanging out. And then the relationship actually came like 3 years.
Yeah, we were friends for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Whose idea was it to start documenting the relationship? Because you have so many followers and so many fans, just because you two are together and were together before, broke up together, whatever. But, whose idea was it to say, like, let's just jump into this?
Well, I already document so much of my life, and I feel like, people want to know who you're dating and what the relationship is like. And I decided, we should come out with our own channel and just share our relationship, all the questions that people ask. Let's totally share it with the world. And I feel like it's an organic thing. I don't like to do anything forced or film anything forced. So I felt like it was such a natural thing for us to just start creating content and just sharing all our experiences together, travel vlogs and, challenges and even pranks. I kind of went overboard on the pranks, but it was so much fun doing all those kinds of videos.
I definitely stepped into her world. She was running the social media world. I stepped into it and kind of just let her, run the show.
I remember you guys first started doing, I started noticing you guys on Instagram. I'm a fan of you guys. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of pressure, right? When people are watching you and watching your relationship, and some people are like relationship goals, but everything's not perfect all the time.
Right. I think it's so important though for anybody that wants to go public in a relationship and do content, make sure your partner is 100% for sure that they want to be public, because I think the issue is where back then it was more of me and Don was just, okay, I'll go with the flow. I'm enjoying it. It's, for our fans and our audience. And, it's great content. I'm enjoying it, but he wasn't fully wanting to do it as much as me. So it's so important to make sure your other partner wants it just as much as you do, or is willing to do it, because you don't want your other partner to feel obligated, because that's where it can create.
And that's the pressure too. Like, yeah, the pressure just, like you said, like making it seem like everything is all like, of course we're shooting videos that make people happy. So it's a lot of comedy videos, but I think what we've learned is trying to find that balance to let people know that, yeah, we have real issues that go on in our relationship too. So yeah, there's definitely that pressure, you know, because the world, you know how it is, like the world expects us to be perfect and they expect us not to have issues. So if they see any little slip up, they're in them comments and they're on our head, and then we got to deal with it. And so, yeah, the pressure in the spotlight is different when you're a couple in the spotlight, for sure.
I feel like when I watched the video of you two explaining that you got back together, I feel like even though you kind of told a lot, you kind of didn't tell us anything, right? So you did a good job at that, because y'all was talking to us for like 40 minutes. I was like, okay.
So why did they break up?
Why did y'all break up? Exactly. So that's what I kind of want to get to, like the why. You know, what was the final straw, and what did you do to get to the point where it was just like, all right, I can't take it no more, and vice versa.
Right.
So we came out with a second video, which was the reason why.
The reason why we broke up.
The reason why
we did talk about like there was infidelity and all of that involved in the situation. So we came clean on that, and like I didn't want to be too. We didn't want to just come out and say what happened, because again, if you just, you know how it is, like if you say, you have to be very particular with how you say things, because not like as a man, for me, I didn't want to seem like I was making excuses with the situation or trying to like be like, well, I did this, but this is why, or anything.
Right.
And which is the reason why I wrote my book, and I really went into depth with not only things that I had been battling and my generational curses and trying to figure out how to move in the industry as a man, and all of these things that I didn't learn. I wanted to tell the full story to paint the picture better. So in the video, we didn't want to just be like, oh, well, Don did this and then leave it at that. We kind of wanted to tell the whole story of what happened.
I wanted to see that too.
Yeah, you know,
the drama to unfold.
Yeah, exactly. And I admitted my wrongdoings, but it was like I just wanted to like, you know, be cautious with how I did it and be able to let men know, like, look, we messed up, but you have the choice to either get back up and learn from your mistakes, or, you know, most men, our ego and pride come in and we're like, yo, well, I don't got to explain nothing. I could do it.
Right.
She don't like it, she can leave. Like all these weird egotistical things come into play, and I didn't want it to be that situation.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, it's
Just
like, how many videos can we do?
Right. To explain a little bit how it happened, because we were together for going to be 4 years, and he proposed to me 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, like 3 years ago. 2020 doesn't count.
Yeah.
2 years ago. And it was just, it's crazy because you dream of this moment where someone proposes to you and you're like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to say yes. This is going to be the person I'm spending the rest of my life with.
Right.
This is how I'm supposed to feel. I have some confusion. I have some doubts, but I love him and my family loves him and everything seems perfect. But everything that just looks perfect doesn't mean it's perfect within. So I felt like there were things that, of course, dating Don when we first met, he got off America's Next Top Model. He was a good looking, bad boy kind of vibe. Like he didn't have the cleanest reputation, like what from my friends were telling me, like, girl, he's a player, blah, 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 blah. But us girls, sometimes when we're not aware of our self-love and really digging into knowing what's best for us and our worth, we tend to settle for less. Like, oh, I like the challenge, or I can change him. And those are the issues that I feel that us women deal with as we grow and mature and pick the person that we want to spend the rest of our life with. So it wasn't even expected. When I met Don, we were friends, and it just slowly, gradually grew into a relationship. Our family got real close. Like my mom's best friend is his mom, and my dad loves Don and looks at him as a son. Like everything just seems so great, and we're super compatible, and we enjoy the same things in life. And I feel like, everything is perfect. But there were things that Don is dealing with personally that I wasn't aware of, and there's also expectations on my end. Us women, we want to be loved this way. We want to be treated this way. And it's really tough when you just kind of aimlessly date or get to know someone. You want to make sure that you're checking the boxes, that that, okay, this person has the same values, the religion, like there's so many little aspects that you have to pay attention to. And through our relationship, you know, once he proposed to me, I do see myself spending the rest of my life with him, but there were questions of his loyalty. Like there were things that he did in the past that broke my trust. And it's like that weird transition, getting
with
into
women, men
yeah.
have to, for me, I came off of the phase of from America's Next Top Model all the way up until 2019. That was 6 years, but I was kind of stuck in this route of not really doing things the right way, and
the habit.
I had to break these things, and there was flirtatious. It wasn't like the situation that came up. We didn't really talk about it. But,
okay, yeah, you can talk about it.
But there was
talk about it.
I talk about it in my book. I talk about how there was like a girl that was a friend, and there was like some conversations that were being had about hooking up before I become a married man and stuff.
And
like
I knew
that.
the girl too.
And
like,
so it was.
I thought that girl was a safe girl. Like that was his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I met her as Don's friend, and it wasn't like it's a different when it's my girls, but it's someone, because he doesn't have a lot of homegirls. So when he has a one particular friend or two or whatever, I usually meet them. I haven't met her, and he made it a point for us to meet at one point. And I'm like, okay, so she seems really nice, but I'm going to keep my eye on her. I just don't know. I'm going to keep her close and be like, okay, I got my eye on you.
She was right.
You had a little intuition. You had a little intuition.
And it's crazy because, it's weird because you have to, like, our mind is a crazy thing. Like, you have to really be in control of your mind. As a man, like, I was in a phase where I was, I wasn't doing as much work. So I was bored. My mind was kind of running weary. I'm about to get married. So I was in my head, like, damn, I'm about to be with this one woman. There was a lot of things that you have to, I tell men now, you have to really be in the right mindset if you're really going to commit to a relationship and commit to one woman, because as men, especially in the industry, or if you're attractive, like, you have all these things that you think it's okay for a man. Like a lot of men, they're like, oh, well, as long as you don't get caught, or as long as you do it every once in a while, or it's just talk, or there's so many excuses that men will make for these things that as I had to reshift my mindset and realize, like, none of this stuff is cool, that so many women have to deal with on a daily basis with men being fuckboys and blah, blah, blah. And so, with this situation, like, I told Liane, like, as much as, like, in the moment when it happened, it was like a gift for me, because it kind of was like an awakening where it's like, yo, I don't, like, my father wasn't with my mother. And I was like in this path where it's like, I don't want to move in the same steps that my father was moving in. There's so many men that I've seen around me moving in, but yet I'm out here, I'm cheating, I'm doing this reckless shit to Liane, who's never done nothing but be an amazing woman that's so hard to come by. And so for me, when it happened, it was like, it needed to happen. And again, it was weird because, like I said, I wasn't trying to make an excuse, but it's like, it sucks that sometimes these things have to happen and the right person is going to wake up at the right time. Like some men, they'll go through that experience and they won't really learn from it. They'll be like, well, I lost my woman. I'm going to go out and go to the club with boys, and we're going to turn up, and I'm going to find the next girl.
They get worse.
Yeah. But for me, it was like, okay, let me learn from this situation, sit down, figure out why I did this to her. Why did I feel like it was cool to have this conversation? Who was around me that I really have influenced me to do the right things? And so I took this situation. I was like, let me step back from my circle. Let me put myself around to talk to people like Devon Franklin, like Pastor Touré, like, go find people that I'm not usually watching videos of or talking to, and learn and see what they did. Like, how are you in this happy marriage? How did you overcome the temptations of women in this industry? You know what I'm saying? And like, and in the midst of it, at first, like, I was blowing her up, like, yo, like, let's make this work. Like, I'm sorry.
So, yeah,
like, I messed up.
After that moment when we broke up, like, I told him, he was out of town actually, and I FaceTimed him, and I'm like, when you come back, all your stuff's packed, you're leaving, you're out. And
wait, Liane, back up. So tell us what you saw
I'm like,
that made you, while he was away, be like.
So we've all been guilty. Like, all the girls have been guilty when you get that intuition where you want to go through their phone or go through something, and you're like, your anxiety is like, oh my God, I want to go through something.
I knew it had to do with
and then, but it wasn't a phone. So he had an Apple Watch. And it's funny because
same difference, sis.
Same thing.
Same thing. And like, I had a feeling that when he left town, I checked his Apple Watch and I saw a conversation from that girl and it's funny because I only looked at her text message.
Because you knew what you was looking for.
And you know what? I've seen it before. And Don's very open when like I know his passwords and everything, but that doesn't mean anything because people can delete things, you know? And I went through his Apple Watch and I seen a conversation and it was pretty much what he said, how she actually was entertaining it. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you guys to get married. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to do a bachelor party, blah, blah, blah. And talking about, I can plan on your whole bachelor party.
Does she want to be the dancer?
Nasty.
And then they went down memory lane and I just found out that they hooked up a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
So I was just like, you know what, this is it, it's over. And my girls were there at the moment, they were asleep. And I woke them up and I'm just like, it's over. I'm breaking up with him, it's for real, like it's over. And like they helped me pack all his stuff. And that was it. I FaceTimed him and I called him and he was just shocked. He shook, like he did not even know what I was talking about because I'm sure he thought that he deleted the messages, but the Apple Watch pretty much collects all the conversations that you have on your phone. So I went through his Apple Watch, I saw everything. And then he came back and, you know, we split up and he just like begged just to have one last conversation with the family. Cause honestly, the breakup wasn't just between me and Don. It was between our entire family.
Like I'm close to their parents. She's close to my mother. Like our mothers are best friends. So it was like a whole family breakup. It was crazy.
So I let him have like the whole conclusion of everything. Like, hey, this is what happened. And, you know, we're breaking up.
Did his mom try to convince you to stay with him?
Yeah, my mom honestly to the point went crazier than me. Like she was blowing she was blowing Liane up at a point. She was going
God,
crazy.
it was really bad because it just felt like the longest breakup ever. Usually when you're having a breakup, it's just between you and that person. But it felt like everyone was going through a breakup. My mom was so heartbroken. My dad was really disappointed. And it's just tough because when you're so used to a routine of like having someone around and having your friends like, you know, help with the wedding and all this stuff, it's like you were planning for a wedding and all of a sudden it's completely over. And one thing I've learned, like just overall for women that go through this, it's not your fault. Don't ever, because I was questioning me at one point and I was doing so much research, like why do men cheat? Did I not do something? Am I wrong in some point? Like what is wrong with me? It's not even about you. A woman will never be good enough for a man that's not ready. And understanding that, you know, I felt more at peace with myself and knowing that this is Don's problem and cutting him off completely. So we just completely parted ways. I told him, if you ever try to sneak up and pop up at the house and call the cops, like don't play with me. You are not gonna come over. And
wait a minute. Was this the first time you cheated or got intuition that he did cheat?
So there had been an issue like early in our relationship that popped up like the first year. Mm-hmm. And then there was like certain situations where she would be worried where, again, I was on the road, I was hosting clubs, I'd be out all night. And so there was a lot of just recklessness that was happening that wasn't giving her the confidence to be like, yo, he's out here actually doing the right thing, you know? So that's why I said as a man, like I have all the reason for her to wake up and be like, look, you haven't been the right man always, regardless of how much we love each other, how happy we are when we are together. Like I was still doing dumb stuff that wasn't really securing her. And so when this situation happened, that's why it was the last straw, because it's like over the past few years, you know, like, yeah, you haven't done the craziest things, but for a woman, like one small thing like this is like, it's not cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for men, we don't really think like that a lot of times. And in this situation, that's why I was like, man, like why? Like, why? I don't want her to feel like it's her, because it had nothing to do with her. Like, we're happy. She's beautiful. Like, the sex life is amazing. Like, everything was good. It's just, there was things that I was dealing with as a man that when this kind of came to the light, you know, it was like, God was like, yo, this is something you're going to have to deal with, or otherwise y'all ain't gonna be back together. You know what I'm saying? So
how accountable is the other woman, right? Because obviously you two are in a relationship with each other. And a lot of times women get mad at the other woman as well. Do you think because she knew that you guys were in a relationship, that she's at all accountable as well.
And that's the thing with me, like I take all blame because me as the man in this relationship, like I should be strong enough to know how to cut that conversation. You know what I mean? Like even if the other, like, yeah, she shouldn't have went there, but I feel like me as the man in the situation, like I should be strong enough to represent my woman. Like I'm not going to let you disrespect our relationship like that, like whatever we had in the past, you know? And so in the moment in my mind, I was like, man, she got me fucked up. Why she do this? Like it's her fault. We're breaking up. But once I went into full accountability mode, like everything really falls on me. Like I need to know how to handle myself around women. A man in a relationship, we need to know how to have them boundaries. If it is a female friend, a worker, an acquaintance, whatever it is, you know?
And we talked about that on our YouTube video, where is it okay for your significant other to have the opposite sex friend? And I think that it should be okay, but there needs to be boundaries. There has to be healthy boundaries and respect, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the same girl that I was last time, where I'm checking your phone and I'm feeling insecure. Like it's taking too much away from me, where I'm not able to focus and be at peace with myself. So that's another thing. Like 2020 was a year of self-love and growth and just really becoming more at peace with myself, because getting involved and trying to check his phone and worrying about him, that I'm never going to be in a relationship like that again. And of course it takes time to heal, because right now I'm still healing. I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% trusting Don. I don't know if I'll ever 100%.
I was going to ask you that, because y'all
trust men ever.
I think that there has to be, so we also talked about this too, where when building trust, it's healthy to set rules where Don knows I tell him all the things that I feel uncomfortable with. I'll write it down, and the things that would make me feel comfortable if you did this, same thing, vice versa. And you just make sure, even because no one can read minds. So it's good to actually write it down and show that person and say, listen, this is not what I feel comfortable with. I don't feel comfortable with that. And then you just check it off the list and just be communicating all the time. You have to communicate. I feel like that's a number one thing, and just be considerate to the other person's feelings and just build that trust, because it's not impossible, but it is possible to build the trust back. And another thing that we shared was that, you know, my dad, of course, he loves Don, but he had like a whole heart-to-heart talk with me, a heart-to-heart talk with with Don, talking about his history. Because my dad, they've been together, my mom and my dad have been together for like 45 years. And so they know what love is. I feel like they've given me the best example. I grew up with them together, you know, opposite from Don. Don had, you know, his parents were together. So it's a whole different story on his end. And my dad was telling me, you know, I cheated on your mom when I was in my early 20s.
And you never knew that.
Well, he did tell me that before, but I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I don't know how you did it, Mom. I could not do it. And I was the one that was like, once you cheat on me, it's a wrap. It's over. And it's different when you're actually in the situation.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that pass judgment, right? Because your relationship was so public, then when you get back together, people weigh in.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
It depends on the circumstances. It depends on the person. It depends on the timing, because we didn't speak for 6 months. We were completely over. But back to my dad was explaining to me, he said, listen, you know, when I cheated on your mom, I was stupid. I wasn't thinking. Your mom she was a workaholic. She was a nurse at the time, and he was bored. And he was taking care of the kids, and he ended up cheating on my mom. My mom found out, but he said, just because I cheated on her does not mean that I don't love her. I just wasn't on my right mindset. I knew I didn't want anything else more than just that one moment, but I want to be with your mom, but I was careless. And he said, I'm not saying to get back with Don, but I'm letting you know that forgiveness and healing in time, and people can truly change if they want. People were born to evolve if they want to. People can grow and develop new habits and break off the old habits and change. I do believe in change. I don't believe people were meant to stay the same. You know, we're not the same people we were last year. I believe that people can truly change and elevate to become a better person. But
here's a lip service question for you guys, right? So when you guys finally did get back together, I saw he came to the house, you know, and it was by accident that he saw you. I'm sure you were looking cute in the kitchen or whatever.
She was looking good.
Was I?
Yeah.
So what was it like when you guys finally had sex again for the first time? Because it had been so long, you know, and you were so used to each other. And like you said, Don, the sex life was amazing. So what was that like? Was it emotional? Did you cry? Did you keep thinking about, like what happened?
Tyrese on Baby Boy.
Stop.
Was that really what it was like? Oh.
It was like, I mean, it was passionate. It was.
I mean, I feel like it's always just, I wasn't emotional. I was just, first I was like, is this really right? Because when you're wanting
word ever.
And then after you're like, right now, I don't know. But it was, I mean, our connection
For
is
me,
amazing.
it was like it felt like I won the NBA championship.
Yeah, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
He was like, I'm back in.
I don't know.
I felt like LeBron at the buzzer.
Now, was you sleeping with other women in between the time that y'all broke up?
No, I was reading, I had read Devon's book, Devon and Megan's book, The Wait. And so I was like, actually, like, I had shifted my mindset. I was about to, like, I was working on abstinence. Like, it was crazy. I did like a whole I went from like I used to watch pornography. Like I used to like, I had like a sexual thing, you know what I'm saying? And so like when this happened, like I stopped watching pornography. Like I stopped drinking liquor. I tried to shift my whole mindset. Like I started reading like at least like a few hours a day. I was reading books. I was talking to Devon Franklin kind of on the regular. Mm-hmm. And so I had read his book. So I was like practicing abstinence at the time. So like when it happened, I was like a damn ready to explode.
Like, this is going to be 20 seconds, but I'll be back.
Was it quick? Was it really fast?
Nah.
We're not asking you because you
He's like, why is he answering?
Oh my gosh. She's like
this.
It wasn't quick, but it was just not long.
Listen.
Now, Liane, and I know he had to probably do a whole lot of foreplay and everything right first, because
we just kissed and it happened.
Listen, we both was ready. All right, we was waiting.
Because I sure wasn't seeing anybody else. I felt like honestly, this is when the COVID was happening,
right?
And so it was like the worst time because I was ready to travel with my girls and just be out. And COVID happened, everything shut down.
I was like, Lord, please let the whole world shut down so she can't.
So you caused this.
If I gotta be in the house without her, like make sure she's in the house, and then all of a sudden the pandemic happened. I was like,
it was the worst timing because once you break up, you want to just go out with your friends and just travel or just not be at home. And I had to sit with my feelings. It was just honestly the craziest timing, and I didn't want to go and date because I felt like everyone had COVID. I was just scared of everybody.
I didn't ask you if you cheated.
I was like, ew, I don't want to be around. I don't want nobody touching me.
Everybody
exactly. I felt like that.
The reason why I didn't ask you if you slept with somebody in between the time is because I didn't think you would. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think you could tell me I'm wrong, and I know you're going to say I'm wrong, but I kind of think you had in the back of your mind, y'all might get back together and you just wanted him to do right.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No, I hated Don.
You did? You really hated him, for real?
She for sure hated
completely
me.
Oh, for real?
I didn't care. He got sick. I didn't care. I was so mad. I was so hurt. I was so mad and I didn't care. I was already.
I had the COVID. She didn't give a damn.
You had COVID. You caught COVID.
Real bad?
No, it was like I had like a fever for the night and then the next day. But either way, I called their parents and was like,
you tried to get sympathy.
There's something killing me. Bring it.
I was so mad. Like my parents were still friends with him, and I'm not going to take that away from him and my parents. So I said, whatever you guys have planned, just keep it away from me. If he tries to come over here for any reason, I'm not going to be home. So the only reason why he came by was when our dog was sick, and he was communicating with my sister about it because my sister was telling him, oh, Bigsby's sick and we have to take him to the vet. And he volunteered to take Bigsby to the vet. So I knew that he was going to come. So the first few visits when he came, I wasn't there. So when the last time he came to drop Bigsby off, I was there in the kitchen, and that's when I saw him. And it's like such a weird feeling because after 5-6 months and you see someone again, it's like that feeling in your heart where your heart drops and you're just like,
the little heart attack.
Yeah. And it's like, hi.
Don became a mechanic, a vet, a plumber. He was like, the toilet's broke. I can fix that.
Yeah. No, he used to try to be sweet through that time. And I told him, I said, don't leave any gifts or anything. I threw everything away.
Wow. You know, you have a lot of willpower, because you know how difficult that is, especially during a pandemic when you're not meeting anybody new. You're not able to go outside and go anywhere. Like, how were you able to do that? Because I'm sure there were times that you felt weak.
I have amazing friends. I am so grateful for my girls because we stay, together. Like through that time, I only had my friends and my family, and sometimes I really was by myself, and I just really wanted to fight that feeling, because what am I fighting for if I get back with God? How am I going to make the situation different? So I kept that in the back of my mind, and I really got into manifestation, journaling, reading, and I started doing a lot of YouTube videos of talking about self-growth and love. So it kind of helped me hold myself accountable. So I really just dug deep and just stayed strong through that situation. And then, like, again, when Don started coming around, we actually share the same life coach, Tony Gaskins. So
I love Tony Gaskins. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. So he's been with us since the beginning of our relationship, and he started mentoring Don the first time when he had that situation happen. And the difference is from before and now. Before, I took him back too soon. It was like a week later after that situation had happened. This time I really was over him, and Tony was telling him, like, bro, leave her alone. Like, she completely is over you. Like, I talked to her, and you just need to focus on you. And then once down the line, Tony calls me and he checks on me. And then, he was telling me also, oh yeah, Don's actually doing really well. He's writing a book, and he's been consistent with his courses. Before, he didn't finish his courses. Now he's actually following up with his classes and finishing everything. So I'm like, in the back of my mind, that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm happy for him, good for him. And I just didn't think of, oh, now I want to get back with him. It was more like, well, I'm glad he's choosing that route than to just be drinking.
In the beginning, it was when I was working with Tony and I messed up. It was a desperation to get her back and to like do what I had to do to get her back. Mm-hmm. This time around, I think I had matured. And it was more of I need to do what I need to do to get my life right and figure out where I really want my future to go. And by doing that, I pray that it brings us back together. And so I was really working with Tony this time around just to really learn from Tony and because he's gone through some crazy stuff in his life, and before I was just like, man, show me how I can get my girl back. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we were together for the first year. Now it's like 4 years in.
This time was like, man, I really want to.
It's a lot different.
Yeah. So, but Tony's amazing.
He's been such a big help.
Tony's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Don, you learned a lot about yourself clearly during that time. You wrote your book, right? My Truth. So what do you think about, your parents and even your grandparents and how that's affected you and how you deal with relationships?
I mean, I think it's heavily influenced my life. My grandparents separated. My grandmother was addicted to crack cocaine. My father was addicted to crack. His father was addicted to heroin. I think I witnessed so much unhealthy relationships in my life. I never really knew how to carry a relationship the right way. I never really had that, that so-called couple to look up to, like how her parents were together. My mother was in and out of abusive relationships. And so, like I said, I didn't try to make an excuse for it, but it's real. Like when you see these patterns, you don't really know that it carries on in your life. And so for me, I had to go back and like backtrack and be like, okay, what was my father doing that like him and his father were constantly making excuses for their wrongdoings, but they were never fixing it. It'd be like, oh, I got high this weekend, I'm not gonna do it no more. And then by the next weekend, I don't hear from him and he's getting high again. And for me, with women, or if I'm out of the club and I don't call you till 6 a.m, in my mind, it's the same thing as my father going and getting high again. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I don't want to, for me, I kind of use those as like, I don't want to carry the same patterns that has been in my generation year after year after year. And so as little as those things, like luckily I didn't follow that pattern with drugs, but it can attack you in different ways. And so for me, I was like, what's attacking me? What's stopping me from reaching that next level of my life? And so luckily the pandemic and me and her breaking up, I was able to sit down and focus on myself and kind of separate from my friends when all my friends were like, yo, let's go hit the club. Like, you're single again. Let's go turn up. And I'm like, I don't want to do that no more. Like, that's not really, I don't feel that feeding my soul. And I feel like I need something different for my life. You know, it's weird because like I was going through like a transition, like my agency had dropped me, my manager dropped me. Like I was low-key like stressed out. I had like one little gig that was carrying me through, and
social media was attacking him.
Social media was attacking. Like a lot of things were weighing on me. Everything was weighing on me. I was like at the point where I was like, yo, everything is weighing on me. And I was like, but I could have went out and did some club appearances and made a quick bag, but I was like, I need something more soothing for my soul. And so I was like, let me sit down and figure some right things out. And for me, this situation ended up being the biggest blessing for me, because after I sat down and locked in, like, shoot, my blessings blew up times 10.
So with you not drinking and doing any kind of smoking or anything like that, right? It's both. You don't smoke either?
I smoke
here and there. So without doing any drinking or anything, does that like change you guys' sex life? Like, does it make it better, or did it change it all?
I mean, I didn't really drink. I wasn't like an alcoholic. Not
an alcoholic, but sometimes.
I didn't drink a lot. It was more so like I drank excessively when I was partying. And so for me, it
wasn't in moderation. It was like overboard.
I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna go hard, I'm gonna turn up like crazy. So for me, I was like, let me just chill and cut it out. But it didn't really like make our sex life better or worse. I don't think it like affected. And she's never drank or smoked ever. So I can perform with or without the tequila.
Well, this sounds fun. I want to take a shot to that.
Listen, we'll drink to that for you guys.
Yeah, we will.
So now, are you guys discussing marriage again?
Yes, we are. We're talking about it. There's some plans, but we haven't announced anything yet. But
we might have to come back on here for the exclusive drop.
Does this start over? Because it's like, do you say I'm engaged? It starts over.
Completely scratches. You got to repropose.
I got to repropose. I got to get a new ring.
I know, that's right.
Right, girlfriend. That's right.
A whole new person, a whole new ring, a whole new proposal, everything.
A new ring, okay.
New ring, new
ring, who this?
I mean, we dream of this. We dream of a wedding.
It's going to be a real big ring.
Every woman deserves their dream wedding, especially, going through something like this, like you owe me big.
I mean, yeah.
You say, yeah, whatever she says.
First, it's crazy. I've been trying to, like, every time, like, I feel a certain way, I'll sit back and assess it and be like, you know what? This is how it's going to go. Like, at first I was like, we proposed, like, what? I already got you a nice ring. Like, but then I was like, you know what? I fucked up. This is what you want. This is what's going to make you happy. All right, I'm willing to do it, And so for me, I've just been wanting to challenge myself in every aspect as a man, to where things that I would like move, if I feel like I was moving on pride or ego before, then I'm going to sit myself down and be like, you know what? If this is what she wants, I'm going to make her happy and try this for her, And at the end of the day, me, if I can say that I've given it my all, and if it still doesn't work, if she's like, I still can't trust you, I'm still broke from that situation. As long as at the end of the day, me as a man, I can say that I did everything that I could to really change the man that I've become and what I'm doing to make you happy as a woman, then that's really all I can do,
Yeah.
Being totally transparent, do you bring it up? Do you ever bring up the fact that he cheated?
I bring it up sometimes, and it's only when it triggers, when certain situations may happen where
certain movies. Yeah,
and I still get mad sometimes.
You look at them like,
yeah.
I always tell guys, like, you have to be really patient.
And I get sometimes, and I wake up and I'm like, I'm pissed at you. My dream.
She wakes up like punching me in my sleep.
but as a man, you have to be patient and understand that, right? Because you broke the trust. So now you have to build that back up. And there's going to be times when she might ask you some questions she's asked you before. She might bring it up again. Yeah. But I think also as a woman, if you forgive somebody, right, and you want to move on, you have to work on that yourself too.
Right.
Yeah.
So one thing that I do love though about our situation, there's so much growth, and I didn't think that I'd ever get back with someone that ever cheated on me. And once trust is broken, it's completely broken. You can't fix it. But going through this process with Dawn and having a counselor and really forgiving someone and seeing the growth and change, in Dawn, and him like quitting drinking and him not going out. His new fun things to do was golf and like spend time with the family and like, you know, things that I feel that I can be involved in and feel comfortable him doing, and not being in temptation where he's not going to the clubs, he's not hosting clubs, he's not around random girls. Like it's very like clean.
But let's say he does have to go out, right? For whatever reason, it's a friend's birthday or whatever. Would you be comfortable?
He invites me. So he invites me, he involves me, and he gives me the option to come or not. And when he does, he's been communicating with me, like who's there, like, hey, just so you know, blah, blah, blah's here. Like, but for the most part, we've been together.
Yeah, like I did like a little like a trip with my guys to Palm Springs, you know, we was golfing at the casino, but things that I wouldn't do before, for example, like if we're out and there's some girl, like my boys got some girls around, like I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just there. But now I'm gonna call her and let her know, like, yo, just letting you know there's some girls around. You know,
the
they have
worst
some
thing
friends.
is to find out from someone else.
Yeah, because that's what I learned. Like, because somebody could, like, you know, we're out. People could take a video or something and then tag
somebody, take a random picture
and make it look like something more than what it is.
Like something is not.
So now I've learned how to handle myself in situations better to make her comfortable, as to where before it was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, like I'm gonna maneuver how I want to maneuver, and that's what it is. But now it's like, let me do things to where I'm building her trust the right way, where it's like, yo, there's some girls around, just letting you know, so you don't have to hear nothing from nobody, but this is what it is. I'll keep you in, you know what I'm saying, in touch. Like I try to maneuver in ways to where she doesn't have to worry about it no more.
And a lot of people ask me, like, how do you trust somebody after they've broken your trust like that and just gradually growing? Like, how do you transition from being the paranoid girlfriend and wondering and questioning to being more of, you know, like you said, not going crazy and not bringing it up all the time? I think it happens through time, and it happens through communication. Because in the beginning, when we started seeing each other again, you know, I was bringing it up. I was letting him know how much I was hurt. There were times I would just start crying because it would just hurt me and I would get triggered. And through time, it will just go away. But I feel that it's good to really focus on, you know, not bringing it up all the time, because you don't want to always throw it in their face. You know, you're not going to grow from that if you consistently keep throwing it in their face.
She's good. She's good about not bringing it up too often. And if it does get brought up, we're good about like working through it.
He's good at comforting
me. It doesn't
me.
blow up into like a fight.
Where's the friend now? Where's the girl? Have you?
That's not his friend no more.
Yeah. Have y'all spoken at all?
Nah, she horrible.
Block.
And you don't see her out? Like y'all don't see her out?
Nah.
Did you ever see Chris Rock's special where he's like, when he cheated, he's like, did you make a left with that bitch? And he'd be in the car with his wife and make a left turn and everything he did.
Right.
And that's exactly how it is.
That is how it is.
Now, this show is lip service, so we do get a little nasty sometimes. So I got to ask you this, right? So being that you fucked up when you're in bed, do you ever just say, you just lay down, let me please you. I'm just going to go down on you. You ain't even got to do nothing for me. I just want to do everything for you.
Me to her?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
And Liane, have you ever been okay with just that and been like, I'm just going to lay here and just accept all this and we don't even...
Yeah.
Yes, often.
Because in my head, if my man messes up.
Cook something for me.
You know what's crazy? It's crazy because like after I read the weight and I started like that whole 6 months of not having sex with her and just like being in that moment, like I'm now like cool with like, you know, if it's a week or so, if I just gotta please her, like my mindset is different where I'm cool with that now. Like, of course I still want it, but it's like more, you gain that self-control as a man. Like you now gain that control because as a man, like that sexual dog in us is fierce, you know what I'm saying? So once you gain control of that element, it's like I want it. Yeah, I still like, I look at her and I'm like, I want it, but I can be cool with it and be like, let me just please you and make you happy, you know?
I feel like it's about to go down after this.
It's about to go down. We gotta speed this.
Well, listen, I do want to thank you guys for being so open about everything. Because I'm going to be honest, like one of the main things that people always talk to us about is, you know, guys and girls too sometimes mess up and want to figure out how do they repair a relationship. And, Do you think it helped, Liane, that all throughout, even though, you told him don't pop up or I'll call the police, but he still was trying to get, still sending things, still making sure that you knew that he still cared and doing things like that? Or do you think it's better to just leave somebody completely alone like you said you wanted?
For real.
Well, for me, I wanted him to leave me completely alone, because there comes a point where a woman is fed up and they're like, I don't care what you do. I don't want anything that has to do with you or connected to you. So I think that if a woman really is, there has to be a situation where if you should fight for it or you should let go. And I think at this point, it was time to let go. And it's because I felt that I did all I could and everything that he needed to do was within himself. Until he comes and he's completely a new person, I feel that that's when I can actually allow his presence to be around me, because I was just really protecting my energy at that point. I was just over it completely. But I think that it was nice, like after like that time that I was able to be by myself and Don started doing those thoughtful things, that's when I was open to it, because I was healing and I was also at peace with myself. I think it just depends on the woman. If a woman, you can tell when a woman wants you to fight for them.
Yeah, because sometimes you say leave me alone and you don't really, and then he leaves you alone and you're like, damn, he don't care.
That's a struggle that we can't, because when I was in it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing nice things or if I'm really supposed to leave you alone. And so we really, as men, we don't know. Cause it's like, you tell us, leave me alone. But then if we leave you alone, then it's like, well, you didn't even fight for me. And then,
we do that.
And then it's like, if we're fighting for you, it's like, leave me alone. Cause when I was I would talk to her friends, cause we're all in the same circle. So like when we broke up, I would still be talking to her friends, and I'd be like, what am I supposed to be fighting for or not? And they're like, well, fight for her, but do it at a distance and don't talk.
You're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Like,
shadow boxing.
How does this mean? I'm confused.
Like, look at her, but not with your eyes.
That's the most tricky thing for guys. So y'all need to let us know.
It really depends on the girl. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about a guy?
Buy me some Gucci and Louis, but don't buy me no snacks and don't pull up.
No edible arrangements.
Thin bags.
And for the guys, I guess they would have to read your book to figure out how to, change themselves or to know when that woman is worth it for them. Because are they really changing for themselves or are they changing for the woman?
I think of course, it's something like you want the woman, but it's ultimately something in that woman that brings out what you want to change in yourself, if that makes sense, I guess. Because it's like, I've been in relationships and I've always, at the end of the relationship, I'm like, man, I'm going to do me. Like, she's losing out. Like, it is what it is, And then in this situation, it's like, I need to fix some things in myself as a man. Like, I don't need to be maneuvering the same. So yeah, I think ultimately it's like for the woman, but it's for you. Like, because regardless of if me and Liane got back together, the things that I was doing, it was going to be for whoever's going to be my wife. You know what I'm saying? So, but it usually is it takes that right woman to bring it out of the man. It's always either like a woman or money that makes a man really change. Like either you get broke or you lost the woman of your dreams. It makes us want to really change some things around.
That's great. It feels like you know yourself a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm with somebody that is walking with purpose, that is being aware of everything and setting healthy boundaries and communicating way better. Like, it sucks to say, like, us women, we go through things, but then some things just happen, for a reason. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and it's either we grow from it or we just stay the same. And I think that this definitely helped us grow to be a better person, individually and also together.
But if you felt like something was missing a little bit there at some point, what made you say yes to him in the first place?
Well, because it was when he proposed to me, I already did see myself spending the rest of my life with him. But it was also the pressure I felt like, I think this is it. I was just confused also because it was more on his end. I know I wanted to be with him. I know I was happy with him, but I was just unsure and I didn't have the full trust that I wanted. But that was also a lack of self.
Like, am I going to pull it together after we get married? Or am I?
It was just, because I didn't trust Don. 100%. I think that's where I felt the confusion. But I loved him and I would spend the rest of my life with him, but he has to act right. But Like that was the only thing that I was like confused about. Other than that, like we're so compatible. We enjoy the same things. We believe in the same things. We love family. Our family loves each other. It was just, it's a perfect situation. But the thing is, every relationship is not going to be perfect. Every person you get with, there's always going to be some kind of challenge. It just depends on what battle you want to fight. You got to choose your battles. If this person has an alcoholic addiction or a drug addiction or, you know, a weakness in certain areas, you have to figure out what those problems are and see if you can actually deal with it, because that's the battle you're going to have to fight. So between us, it was more of him being, you know, too nice to girls to where it got confused as being flirtatious, and him being too nice to his boys where, okay, I guess I'll go out and drink with you guys when he knows he shouldn't. But now I feel like this situation allowed him to learn to say no. And you have to learn the power of the word no goes a long way. You have to be able to say no to things in life. And I feel like he's just grown so much, and I've seen it. And also like hearing it from, you know, Tony Gaskin, someone that I completely trust, you know, and he looks out for me too. So it's not like he's just on Don's side. Yeah. I feel like
he wasn't fighting for me when we
leave her alone.
He told me leave her alone, bro. Not fighting. I was like, bro, just go like drop some gems. No, I'm not fighting for you. So.
Liane, was there anything about yourself you had to change? I know we talked a lot about Don and things he had to change, but what about yourself?
I think that for me, the self-love was a big part, because when you're getting into a relationship, you get so consumed in the other person where you forget to do things for yourself. Mm-hmm. And everything was just all about me and Don. But I was also focusing on me, but so much more focused on trying to make it work. And sometimes our brains, we think about the potential instead of the reality of things, of our relationship. But I feel that for me, I really wanted to work on, you know, self-love. And I feel like now I feel like I know my worth more. I know what I want to settle for. I know what I deserve. Before, like I said, when I got with Don, I already kind of knew the situation I was getting into, but I'm single and we'll see where this goes. And then we start wanting more and then hoping that it would be this and trying to create something that I saw in my head, but it wasn't the reality, because, you know, Don's situations, like his whole upbringing and everything, his habits was not aligning with mine. That's why I think it's so important to come in whole as a person, and him coming in whole so we can be whole together, rather than me being whole and him being half empty and I got to contribute to him. It's exhausting. So I feel like I've just grown so much where individually as a person to love myself more. And I think that's what was lacking.
Well, good. And now he's a best-selling author. You guys are back together, better than ever. So congratulations. In a way, we owe this woman a thank you. No?
Thank you.
Oh, my God. And she's talking about the friend. She's saying that we owe the friend a thank you.
Honestly, you know, everything, it sucks because everything happens for a reason. Everybody's put in our life for a reason. And as much as like we can hate somebody in a situation or, you know, whatever the case is, yeah.
It's so weird because I don't hate her. It's weird when you come from a place of just, I forgive you. I know, you know, you're broken. When you understand the person is broken, it just like the people that talk bad about you, it's not about you. It's about them. They're reflecting what they are saying.
Thank you. You made us go harder for ourselves. Thank you.
Yeah. It didn't work. Your plan didn't work. All right. We're even strong. We're stronger now.
I appreciate
and I think that it's so bad to walk with unforgiveness and hate in your heart. I think that it's poison. It just makes you a horrible person. So when you hate on somebody or talk shit about somebody, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't, you know, I feel like it's a toxic thing to do.
You're trying to steal somebody's man, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's her problem.
You entertaining somebody trying to steal their man?
You know, so that's why.
And I think, you know what's funny? I was doing so much research and talking to Tony Gaskins about why men cheat. He explained so much about Don's situation where his upbringing really affected his choices today. And also like their insecurities, and sometimes it just strokes their ego when women still like approach them. They like that. It makes them feel more of a man. So
we could have a whole nother conversation about why men do what they do. Because it's mind-boggling.
And do you feel like once your dad admitted to you that he cheated, that you kind of had a doubt in the back of your mind that all men may cheat, because in your idea of a perfect marriage, it would have been your parents, right? They've been together forever. You've seen them been totally in love. So do you feel like once you found out he cheated, then you kind of got something in the back of your head to be cautious?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, so when my dad told me that, I mean, it's so funny. When I moved out here, I really, my mind, I'm from Modesto, California. It's a small city, and I was in a Christian school. Like, I was such in a bubble. So moving to LA was a reality check. Like, oh my God, people out here really cheating and lying and using people, and it's just crazy. And because I equaled cheating to killing, like that's murder to me. So when he cheated on me, it was just so much like, I can't believe he did it. But when my dad told me he did that, it just made me feel like, man, does every guy cheat now? Like my dad did. Then, like, is this everyone? Is this something that we all experience? And at the same time, I don't believe that every man does cheat. I feel that a lot of people do. It's just about how you grow from it. But I felt like it kind of gave me some kind of comfort too, knowing that I'm not the only one that's going through it. And it's amazing to me though, now that because all of our content has always been happy and family and love. And now talking about the heartbreak and crying in front of camera, not being afraid to be vulnerable to my audience, it opened up another.
It's a whole layer. It's a whole new layer.
Me advice and Dawn advice, and I love being a part of the conversation, helping them. So I think that if this is the purpose for us to go through,
the younger generation needs some help, you know.
Liane, you have a podcast, right? I just want to make sure we plug that.
Well, I just started. I haven't went live yet, but I'm starting a podcast, and it's called Lovers and Friends. So we're talking about love, relationship, friendships, and just surviving, life experiences and the things that I've been through. So I'm excited.
And Don, you have Club Bed.
Club Bed, yeah. Club Bed, clothing on the market, home goods as well.
Super comfy.
That used to be there was a real club in New York called Club Bed.
And in Miami.
And in Miami too.
Yeah, that used to be my spot. But now Club Bed is something different for you.
Club Bed is a luxury brand.
Yeah.
We all wear a size small.
I'm gonna send you guys all.
You have home stuff?
I'll get your info. I'll send you guys all some. What was that?
You have stuff for the house, you said?
Yeah, we're gonna have bedding. We got candles.
Wow.
I want to see that stuff.
Yeah. So the bedding and the candles. We have the candles now. The bedding is in production. So, but I'll get you guys a bunch of all that stuff for sure.
Yay.
That's dope. Well, congrats, guys. And it was really nice to hear this. Like, everything is not always smooth and not a straight path. So we do appreciate y'all for being so open and sharing everything with us. And we look forward to everything you have in the future.
For sure. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, and guys, please get married. Don't break up.
Yeah.
He said, we won't.
I can't wait to see the ring, girl.
I'm going to get that big old ring and
a
wedding. Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. I love to see it.
Thank you so much. It's a lip service, Liane V, Don Benjamin. We appreciate y'all.